So the next na gagawin natin is to create a functionality of setting up our information. So let's create a controller for managing our profile information muna. Personal information rather. Okay, so let me have this one. Copy and sabihin kong edit para madali. Then, yung gagawin ko dito, i-remove ko lang muna to. Kakailanganin ko pa rin to display the default data. Okay, so dito, dadagdagan to natin ng edit. And going to our, I think, so yeah, copy ko lang muna yung code. Then, tanggalin natin to. Save natin to as programming or personal information edit. And then, let's try to sabihin natin, dagdagan ko lang ng keyword na edit para at least we can specify. So if we are trying to access this page, yan. So this is the editing part natin. Okay, so the next thing na gagawin natin is to kukopya tayo ng form. Gumawa tayo dati ng registration form, tama? So, let's try to copy some code here. I think I need this all. Kasi kailangan din natin mag-display ng success at saka yung validation errors. We all also need them. And let's try to paste it here. Okay? And let's try to check here kung ano yung mga kailangan natin i-remove. So dito, this should be visitor profile. Mali. Visitor portal. And then dito will be yung current page, which is yung editing. Yan. So let's try to check this out. Yan, ang lapad. So I want it to be smaller width. So I guess we can manage it dito na lang. Gumawa tayo ng additional grid system for the row. Start tayo sa row. So if you are not familiar yet with the grid system Bootstrap, you can just read their documentation. So call MD8. Okay. Now, let me, where's the row? Itong lahat. Okay, refresh. Yan. So, lumit siya, pero gusto kong parang naka-center. So, I can do call MD offset 2. Yan. So, ano yung mga data na kailangan ko baguhin? So, first name, I think maglalagay ako dito ng label instead of using yung placeholder. So, let me visit muna yung Bootstrap and go to the form. And let me just copy this sample code they have. So, dito. And then, I think I can just remove this one lang muna. And palitan ko to ng, sabihin ko, first name. refresh. So yan, first name. So yung placeholder, basically, i-remove ko na lang. Yan. So first name, middle name. So maybe I can just copy the code. Remove ko na lang yung iba para mas madali, no? Okay, this will be middle name, M name. Tapos yung last name, L name. Then we have the suffix name or the X name. Let's try to refresh this one. Okay, so the next is ano pa ba yung mga data kakailanganin ko? That information is that I've set earlier is on the part here. Of course, we're not going to change the username and password. Okay, that is for its account. We focus on the personal information. What are the other data? Ito yung mga data. So let me just copy, and this will be date of birth, and of course this is DOB. Then we have the place of birth or the POB. Then we have gender status. Gender. So in the part of the gender, you may use yung drop down or yung option or radio button. But for now, I'm just going to use a simple text box. So you're just going to input the gender lang muna instead of selecting. Then we have the same thing with the civil status, guys. If you want to use drop down or an option or radio button, then you may. Okay. Civil status. Next is email, then contact info. Email address. And then yung contact number. Yan. And let's try to refresh. Yan. Mahaba na yung form natin. So let's say yung suffix gusto kong ilagay dito kasi maliit lang naman yan. So we can do that. Let's try if it works. We can have a grid system here. Class of row. And then call MD8. And I can just move this last name on the column 8 and the suffix name on the 4th column. And save and refresh. Yan. So at least nandito, maliit na. If you want to make it smaller, then you can naman. Okay, so ano pa ba? I think ganun lang muna. Tapos dito, I want it to make it smaller. Hindi ako gagamit ng block dito at saka yung LG. And I'm going to use yung, I think, yung green button. Yan. Then I want to have a cancel button. So I can make an anchor tag. So site URL, echo site URL. Yung cancel is babalik lang siya doon sa yung previous na page. So let me just copy this URI, paste it here. So yun. So lagyan natin siya ng pangalang cancel. So balik tayo. So yun. So kaso para lang siyang link. I want it to be like a button. So we can just copy these classes of Bootstrap and sabihin kong this is default. Yung gray color nila. Yan. So if I want to save it, then I guess I can just click the save. If I don't want to save it, then I can. Okay, so regarding saving, I want to make a functionality on asking confirmation. So we can add additional attribute here of on submit. Then let me try because I already forget the code. Sana tumama to. Alert, not alert, but instead confirm. Then let me do that one. Di nababasa, ibaba ko na lang. So, naglalaya ko yung R, U, sure. Just, let's try that one. So, there should be a pop-up. Yun. So, are you sure you want to save this data? Yan. So, refresh. So, are you sure you want to save this data? If yes, then you may click OK. If not, then just cancel. I think like, let's make it bigger. Malit masyadong tingnan yung mga button natin. So, BTN LG. Yan. Ganun na lang. Okay. So, ngayon, I have yung mga default or mga current data natin. We can populate it here. So on our dito, we already have the profiles. Tama. So, we can use that one to populate the data. Profile. Baba ko lang muna to para makita niyo. So, profile. Then, yung F-name. Profile, then L-name. And then, dito naman sa X-name. So, refresh. Yan. So, yung ibang info, ilalagay din natin. Although wala pa namang data, but we need to set it up as well. So, balik tayo dito. Kunin ko lang to kasi ito yun. File info. Yan. Then, for the POB, just in case magkaroon na ng data, then mapapopulate yung data dyan. So, there's no need for us to retype it again. Gender. And then, the civil status. Okay. Then, yung email. Then, yung contact number. Okay. Okay, so basically walang nangyari. Kasi wala siyang error. Ngayon, if we're about to save that one, we are going to copy some code on our account. Yung sa pag-submit account controller. Ito, let me try to copy this code lang muna. Go to my portal and copy this one and make this edit submit. Parang naging routine ko na if there's a form, I'm going to name it as submit once the form is submitted. Then, ano yung mga data nandun that need our attention? So, sabihin natin, ito lang muna yung mga required fields. So, yung iba, pwede nyo namang dagdagan, guys. It's up to you lang muna. So, let me try to comment lang muna ito just to test our validation. Or you want to save? Okay, so let me try to empty this one kasi required yung last name. Yan, so the last name field is required. Okay, so let's try this middle name. Same thing then. So, on the part of the validation, dagdagan nyo na lang guys if you want na maging required yung ibang info. If you are wondering naman kung ano yung mga ibang validation, you can just read the documentation naman. Okay? So now let's try to proceed on saving the data. We're about to call this one and we're about to call no, we're not going to call this method. We're going to create another method that saves the information. Kasi there are two table that we're about to fill in. Okay, so we can copy this one, but instead of saving, we're going to update post record. So since we're going to update, therefore there's one thing that we forgot. Kailangan din nating maglagay ng ID that referencing kung anong record na we're trying to update. So basically, yung pinaka main reference talaga natin is yung user ID. So we're going to have this input hidden and user ID. Then saan naman natin kukunin yung user ID? If hindi tayo nagkakamali, we have a data coming from the session. Diba? So we can echo the session and user ID. Okay? So let's try to check this one if tama ba. So hindi siya makita. Let me try to rename this type para mag-display siya. So yun. Tama naman yung 1 na user ID. Okay, so itago ko yan. So that's the only one. Another thing that we need to retrieve in our update post record, the user ID. So in this part, we need to make sure that this is integer, not a string. Okay? So what are the other data that we need to save? We also need to save the, in this part, just going to update yung dito kasi gagawa pa tayo ng ibang form. So, ganun lang. Then instead of insert, it will be update. And then, parang nakakalimutan ko yung update. So, let's try to search update. Query builder. Then, updating data. So, sana yung updating? Insert, set, update. Ito yung update niya. Insert object. Ito yung update. This is how we do it. Data dito, then where clause dito. Okay? So, yung where clause natin will be the user ID. Kung ano yung user ID na i-update natin. Okay? Then, we're not going to return the insert ID because this is not inserting. Instead, we can return the user ID. Okay? So, paano naman natin ma-update yung ibang records sa part ng personal info? So, we can make another method. So, update post record and then update post or update post personal info. Ganun na lang. Then, kailangan ko din dito yung user ID. Ano pa yung kailangan ko? Yung DOB. Already tried to display it naman. Then, yung POB. Gender. Say status. Or civil status. What are the two things pa? Email tsaka contact number. Okay. So we're going to place it here as well. Actually, we can directly put naman dito yung mga field. So nasa inyo naman, na lang naman yun. Parang nasanay lang ako ng ganito. Pero mayroong time na I tried to directly put the input post dito. But both ways naman work. So it's up to you kung saan lang kayo komportable. Now, there are two situations. Currently, we don't have yet the data. So, we need to check muna if the user ID really exists on the personal information table. Okay, we need to do that muna. So, let me try to copy some codes here to check if it really exists. Kasi, kung hindi pa na siya nag-i-exist, therefore, we're going to insert. But, kung nag-i-exist na siya, then we're going to update. So, we are going to have another method. Let's say, is personal information exist using the ID. So, yung table dito, basically yung personal information. Yan. If it exists, then we're going to return true. Otherwise, we're going to return false. Okay? So, check muna natin. if this personal information exists using the user ID, then if it is true, then yung gagawin natin is update. Okay? Update based on the personal information table. Okay? User ID, then update natin yung data niya based sa data dito. Yun lang ba yung mga data? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think kulang pa tayo ng user ID. So, idadagdag ko lang yan. Tama. Kung nag-i-insert ako, dito ko na lang ilagay yung user ID. Okay lang naman. Yan. Okay, kung na-exist na siya, we're going to update. But if it doesn't exist, we're going to insert. So, we don't have this one. Then, asan na ba yung code? Kailangan ako ng insert. Sana yan. Okay, let's go back to this one. Then, instead of update, it will be insert. So, insert personal information based on the data that we have here. And once it is successful, return the inserted ID. Now, if hindi siya, sabihin natin nandun na yung data, then we're about to update lang yung existing information. Okay? So, ganun. Ngayon, paano naman sa, gawa na rin tayo sa part ng programming skills. Programming skills, update, post programming skills. So, ano yung mga field na nandoon? Prog skills, backend framework, and then front-end framework. Okay. Remove kong iba. Then, pasa natin dito. And then, remove natin yung iba. Now, gagawa rin tayo ng katulad nito, but intended for the programming skills table. Yan. So, is programming skills exist? If yes, update the programming skills table. If not, then insert the programming skills. Okay? Okay, so tama na, meron na tayong data. So, yung tatawagin natin ngayon, once mag-update na ng post, yung personal information, dito tatawagin ko rin to dito. Kasi they are the same form. So, kailangan ko matawag yan. Tawagin ko, i-update ko rin. So, let's try to check kung magkakaroon tayo ng error. Okay? Okay, so, let's try this one kung magkakaroon ba ng error. Okay, so regarding error para guys, usually nakikita siya dito. So, if you want that error to be displayed our error logs directory, para if ever there are errors na hindi natin napapansin dahil nga mabilis yung process ng isang program, then pwede siyang malist dito, malagay sa folder na to. So, all we need to do is to go to the config and look for that threshold, something like that. I-search natin. Yan, ganito. So, all we need to do is to make this 1. See, for a live site, you'll usually only enable errors to be logged, otherwise your log files will fill up very fast. Okay, so we're going to do that to display error messaging. Okay, even page errors. Okay, so once we do that and magkaroon ng error, let's say for example this, let me comment this one, and let me try to echo, maybe not, sabihin natin, remove ko lang yung semicolon and refresh ko to. Yan, i-display to ng error, okay, for us to fix. Then, madi-display din dito sa logs. So, ito yung error. So, we can also check out alin ba yung may error. Kasi may mga instances na hindi natin nakikita yung error dahil nga mabilis yung process ng program. And then, behind the scene pala, tambak na yung mga kailangan natin i-solve. Okay? Or we're wondering, bakit hindi nasa-save yung data? Meron palang error na nangyayari. So, that's the good thing na we can enable that one. Okay? So, now let's try to save yung or process yung saving ng record natin. So, update post record. We just need to call that one. And then, flash data. The data has been successfully or was successfully updated. And then, sorry, an error occurred. The data was not updated. Okay. Then, it will go back to the visitor portal. Okay, kung successfully updated siya, I would like to send it to the information. But kung hindi siya na-save successfully, balik lang tayo dito sa editing form. Now, on our edit, magkakaroon ng changes. Our success will only be placed on the information, profile information. Sabihin ko dito na lang. Okay? And i-remove natin yung isa. So, refresh natin to. And sabihin ko, I would like to take natin December yung birthday ko. 3/20/20 o 1 year old pa lang ako. Place of birth, 17 Tacloban City. And then, mali yung city ko. Of course, yung ito is male. Civil status is single, but of course, always ready to mingle. Just kidding. Email. Sabi natin mondaylo at yahoo.com. Meron pa lang 1, 2, 3. Contact number. Sabihin natin ganun. So, let's try to save that one if may mga error na lalabas para ma-debug natin. Save. So, yun. Check natin yung logs kung mayroong error. So, yung error nito is yung kanina. So, we can just delete this one. So, parang ganon. Since nagre-redirect, hindi natin nalalaman if meron talagang error. But with the use of the logs, then we can notice na there's something that we need to debug or to fix. Okay, so basically, yung process naman natin is successful. The data was successfully updated. But paano naman tayo babalik sa ating form? So let's provide a button that link to the editing form. So let's go to this part. And let's say I'm going to create a simple button. Site URL. Then let me just copy this one and dagdagan lang natin ng edit. Yan. And then, lagyan natin ng edit. Let's try this. Ano yung maging result niya? Nandito siya sa baba. So, what if I'm going to set a full right? This is a CSS of Bootstrap. Let me try to put it at the top. If I'm going to add another class in this one, yung btn primary, para blue yung kulay niya. Kulang pa. Yan. The btn lg. Okay. But I think I'm going to make it as an icon, parang pen icon. So Bootstrap offer those kind of pen icon, yung sa kanilang glyph icon dito tayo sa CSS. And meron silang, saan na ba yun? Baka sa components. Sa components pala. So meron silang ganito. So there's a code, sample code nila na pwede nating makopy, something like this. And yun ang ilalagay natin dito. Let's say this is a pencil. Refresh. Yan. Let's say I want to remove this one. What will be the output? Okay. Let's say I want this to be green. Yung success. Yan. Let me try this one. Let me try to customize this one and change the border radius into, let's say, about 30 pixels. Para siyang bilog. Hindi solid na bilog. 50 pixels. Nangyari. Nakatulad pa rin. Sabihin na lang ganon. At least meron na siyang icon dito for editing. So if we try to click this one, mapupunta siya dito. And if we try to cancel this up, babalik siya doon. Okay? Okay. So let's try to change. Ano ba yung i-change ko dito? Yung birthday na lang to 4. And yung name to Mon. And save. Mon M. Dilo 4. So 2 years old na ako. Oh, I mean, hindi pa. 1 month pa. I mean, 1 day para mag 1 year old. Okay, so kasi it is currently 2021. Okay, so we're already done with this part. Now let's try to work on this part naman. On the programming skills. So we can just copy the code here. Okay, then copy a bit, paste a bit. This will be, may mali. May mali. The first thing that we should copy is the editing form. And then afterwards, this one. Okay. Okay, so dito, papalitan din natin ito ng dito. Let me try to copy yung code natin. Yung sa edit. Save as programming skills, edit. Okay. So, saan na ba ako? So, I'm going to change this with this one and skills. Okay. And then, let's try to comment this lang muna. Then, let's go back. Let me try to close the other parts here. This should be a programming skills. And then, yung form dito should point to the programming skills edit. And then the data that I need to edit is ito sila. Mali. Dito muna. Programming languages, backend frameworks, front-end frameworks. So yung iba, I'm going to delete them out kasi 3 field lang yung meron tayo dito. Then, set value sa programming languages. Then, sa backend frameworks naman. And also for the front-end frameworks. Okay. So, yung cancel button natin should redirect to programming skills page. Ito yun. Then, same thing din, meron tayong user ID for the current file that we're about to update or for the current profile, which is the current plugin user. And ito na yun. And let's try this one. Edit. Yun. Okay, so we can set the programming skills here, the framework, and what if there are a lot of programming skills that you want to set? Let's say that we're going to use yung text area instead of input. So we can have the text area. Okay. So the set value should be placed here. And the name should be, of course, this one. Yung class, this is important to have its default style using Bootstrap style. Okay, so let me copy this one and place it here. Update the name, change the field name, and same thing with the other one. Update the name, and then change the I made some mistakes. The upper part. This should be a programming skills, backend framework, I mean. Then dito, yung programming languages na tama naman. Okay, refresh. Yan. Kahit pa paano, lumaki ng bagay yung text editor natin. Okay, then now let's try to save. Let's try to cancel. Click mo lang muna natin yung back and save natin. Then we're going to manage the use saving. Ano yung mga field na required? Hindi naman siya lahat required. Required lang tayo sa, I think, sa programming skills. Kasi hindi lahat gumagamit na ng framework, hindi kaya mga framework at backend frameworks. Pero I'm sure if you're a developer, you use kahit at least one programming language. Okay. Now, once we do that, let's try to check if it works yung validation natin. Refresh tayo and save. The programming languages field is required. Okay. Okay, so once it is okay, we're going to call the method of saving the skills. Ito. So we're going to call it here. Once it is okay, submit data. And we're going to change this into something like this. Now, if magkaroon ng error, dito naman tayo sa edit. Okay? Then, let's try. So, programming languages. PHP. Yes, programming languages ba yan? Ilan ako sure? CSS. JS. Let's say those are programming languages. I'm not sure kasi backend framework, I know how to use tawag nun? CodeIgniter. Yun lang yung alam ko. Bootstrap, alam ko. Bootstrap. Then, materialize. Foundation, alam ko din. Sabihin natin ganun. Save. So, ito na. Populated na yung data natin. So, check natin yung database nila para sure. So, yun. Nandito na yung data natin. So, if we're trying to edit, let's try to have a button. Hindi pa tayo naglagay ng button. So, let me try to copy the button that I have created here and put it as well on the upper part. And then, of course, we're going to change this into edit. Yan. And refresh. Yan. Edit. So, sabihin natin, ano pa ba? X. Wala akong maisip. Okay, nagkaroon ng X. Let's try to check. Baka kasi nadadagdagan instead of updating lang yung record. Hindi nadagdagan, but nag-update lang yung record na to. Okay, so therefore, tama na yung process ng functionality natin. Okay? So, ano ba yung kulang? Wala siyang yung alert message. To. Para it indicates na successful talaga. So, save. Yun. The data was successfully updated. Yun. Tama na. Okay? So, that's how we can manage one of that updating our records.